Inflation has been a major source of stress for many people around the world. We've seen headlines about rising prices everywhere, from the grocery store to gas stations, and even in our daily necessities. In 2022, inflation in places like the US, UK, and Eurozone reached around 10%, meaning prices were, on average, 10% higher than a year before. This significant increase affected everyone, from individuals to large corporations. But even though inflation has cooled a bit, prices aren't coming down, just rising more slowly. And that's frustrating for many consumers who are already feeling the financial strain. Consumers feel the pinch. Businesses struggle to maintain profitability, and governments try to control the situation through various economic policies. Yet, you'll often hear that a little inflation is a good thing. But why is that? Understanding the balance of inflation is crucial for a healthy economy. Why can't inflation be 0%? It's a question many people ask, especially when they see prices rising. One of the main reasons inflation doesn't stay at zero is because central banks, like the US Federal Reserve, target a small amount of inflation, usually around 2%. This target isn't arbitrary, it's carefully chosen. This target is meant to maintain what economists call a virtuous cycle. A little inflation encourages spending and investment. When people expect prices to rise, they spend more now rather than later. This behavior stimulates the economy. This boosts demand. Companies make more money, more people get jobs, and wages rise. The cycle continues, creating a healthy economic environment. But there's a catch: wages need to keep up with inflation. If they don't, people can actually lose purchasing power. In the US, wages lagged behind inflation for about 2 years, but by mid-2023, wages had caught up, especially for lower-income workers, which is a positive shift. This balance is crucial for economic stability. What happens when inflation spirals out of control? Sometimes, though, this virtuous cycle can turn vicious, like when supply chain issues cause product shortages leading to panic buying and further exacerbating the problem, or when companies artificially hike prices for higher profits, taking advantage of the situation and creating a ripple effect throughout the economy. This disrupts the balance, leading to the kind of high inflation we've seen recently, where everyday essentials become unaffordable for many. Governments can intervene by raising interest rates, which makes borrowing more expensive and discourages excessive spending. This slows down spending and cools off the economy, helping to reduce inflation, but it can also lead to economic slowdowns and job losses. The US Federal Reserve did this in 2022, helping bring inflation down closer to its 2% target, but the road to stability is often long and complex. What about deflation? On the other hand, falling prices might sound appealing, but deflation can be dangerous. When prices drop, people tend to delay purchases, expecting even lower prices. Companies make less money, they lay off workers, and the economy slows down. Deflation is much harder to control than inflation because central banks have fewer tools to fix it. During the Great Depression, a deflationary spiral was only ended by a massive shock to the economy, World War II. More recently, Japan struggled with deflation for decades. The balance of inflation. This is why inflation targets exist. A little inflation helps keep the economy moving without dipping into deflation, which could lead to economic stagnation. So while inflation can be annoying, it's an important tool to keep the economy stable.